I'm gonna see if this live stream is still blocky. Hopefully it's not as blocky. I cranked it up to about almost 10 grand, or at least 10 grand. Alright, hello and welcome YouTube. I am your host Near, and today we'll be doing something a bit different. We're going to be doing a live career of Project Cars. We're going to start from the carts and work our way up and see how well we can do in the season. And we're going to attempt to do this without restarts, but I'm not sure how far we are going to get with the AI kind of freaking out every 5 seconds. So, going to take away the shroud that is the title card, and we should be able to work on our character name. So, by the way, I do have a friend in a Google Hangouts call, so you'll be hearing quite a bit of him, and I think I have independent microphones going on, so he might not hear me at some points, but I'll definitely hear him, and you guys will hear him as well. So let's see, our name is going to be...
Time deltas every lap.
Sorry about that. Crew chief is on. I've binded some of the buttons to my peripherals. It's going to be Jason actually, let's go with Alex.
Okay, I'll tell you the caps.
Alex Peck. That's what we're going to go with, and we're going to continue the role with, what should we have our Twitter handle be? WMD Peck Rex. There we go. Had a little bit of a spelling issue there. We're going to be from... Where should we be from? What country should my driver be from for this? That is a good question. So, Cooper, if you were going to be a championship-winning driver, which country would you want to be from?
Canada.
Okay, that answers that question. Since we're going off of the tip of a hat, we're going to choose Canada. I just passed Canada 3 times. I'm an idiot. And we're both going to draw a random number twice. So, what is your random number?
Between what?
0 and 99. What is your first random number?
69.
Okay, between 1 and 2, what is your random number?
1 and 2?
Yeah.
2.
So it has to be between 69 and 86. We'll just go with 69 just for the lulz. I don't even care anymore. This is what we're gonna go with.
It was just a troll answer I gave.
We're just gonna troll it. Let's do it.
You're gonna rock it.
We're gonna rock it. Commentators are gonna be laughing. We're gonna start from... Yeah, okay, my wheel is plugged in. We're going to throw the commentators off right here.
What did you name it?
I named him Alex Pack, and we were rocking the number 69 for the Kart series.
Ah,
Yeah, so we're gonna.
hacker. Okay.
He's a hacker. He's hacking those carts, man.
No, I said a packer.
Oh, a packer. Possibly. I'm not completely sure.
Let's
But-
go off the 69 joke.
That took me a bit to understand. Looks like the stream looks good. There's not a whole lot to go off of. It looks like we all get the same cart to start off with, so I'm not completely sure what's going on. Apparently, our race engineer had a tough season last year, so the pressure's on us to make some points out of our assholes. Out of our buttholes. Sorry, this is supposed to be PG-13. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing a terrible job at that. Probably gonna have to make this rated R pretty soon. Doing a terrible job with PG-13 right now.
You're like Rambo.
Could be like Rambo. It's a great idea. Going to go on to Glencairn East, where I explain some stuff to all of you guys about Project Cars. We're going to get into the first tip of the day. I think I did cover this in Project Cars Quick Tips, but this took like 15 minutes to cover. I'm going to see if I can cover it in less than 3. So stay on those counters. 3 minutes I have to explain this. So, when you first start out in this championship for the carts, you are given, like, I believe a 80% or like 8/10 or 7/10 on the tire pressures. That's completely bogus. If you start out on those, they'll be cold, you won't have any grip, and you will hate life trying to drive these things. What you want to do is take them down to your tires or a good solid green on the indicator, the tire temperature indicator, even though the tire temperature indicator doesn't even work. So really, it's until you get enough grip to drive the cart that you turn the tire pressures down to, and you adjust the brake pressures and balance accordingly. If you're locking up going into corners, you might want to shift it to the front. If you're locking up the fronts or understeering in the corners, you might want to bring it back a little bit. But that is the quick tip on how you tune the tires for a track. And without tires going down to the track when you're tuning, you don't have much of a chance in actually pulling off much in whatever vehicle you're driving, unless you're Senna. And I don't believe a lot of people are Senna in the world today. So, that's what we're going to cover from now. I think that was, what, 90 seconds that I just covered that in?
Yep.
Yeah, about 90
You might
seconds.
as well just rip that bit of your live stream and take down your old Quick Tips video.
Yeah, we'll just like rip that out of the live stream. We'll just replace the old Quick Tips video and just leave you guys with that. But we're going to give you a little bit of an example of what good tires can do, because I don't feel like going through the example of poor tires and forgetting the numbers again. So,
Watch for the lights.
I believe... No, we're taking the auto clutch off, and this is going to be hard because I have to hold on the brakes and hit the gas.
Go, go, go.
And I've now kind of been forced off the track a little bit.
Front wheel spin. Understood. I'll give those calls. Car right. Right side's clear. Car right. Right
And
side's clear.
I am off the wrong side of the track. Okay, give me a moment. I'm going to do the thing I said I wouldn't do and restart the session.
Okay, no spotter calls. Acknowledged.
Yeah,
No more deltas.
Sorry about that.
Okay, get ready.
I was kind of tired of the crew chief telling me every 5 seconds what is going on.
Green, green, green.
Yep.
A lot of front wheel spin.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Okay, I'll keep quiet.
Thank you, crew chief. Okay, so sorry about that, folks. Crew chief actually has to be set to shut up because we don't exactly need him in karting, but we've managed to put ourselves all the way down to 9th place after spinning, and we should be able to make it up from here. So I think the rule of thumb for these tracks is to try and, if you're just trying to take it easy until you get into the higher formulas, which are, some of them are difficult. I believe the Formula Golf Championship actually does get a little bit difficult because the AI do very well under brakes in those cars, and they tend to outpace you a little bit even when you're running the amount of fuel you need for the race. So what you want to do is you want to get as much traction mid-corner as you can, as we bump that AI off by mistake.
Totally not up.
No, I'm not trying to run everyone off the road, but they're not making it easy for me, as they do slow down in places where you should be pretty far under power. Sometimes it's just me carrying entry speed, other times it's just incidents like that where I don't expect him not to have drive out of the corner and get very confused. But we've worked our way into 6th in this 4-lap race, and I believe we've set fastest lap, so we should be all set in terms of championship points, because the cool thing about the early championships is you get 5 points for every fastest lap you set, and we're going to be setting a lot of those. So if we look at the championship standings, we are in 4th position after finishing in, I believe, 6th place. So let's look at the standings. Yep, we finished 6th, and we got 4th position just from the fastest lap points.
Watch for the lights.
So if anyone is wondering what application I'm using at the moment, it is Crew Chief, an alternative race engineer, and he is way more useful than the other engineer for me. He even tells me when I have brake damage, which is great, because the default engineer doesn't tell that you have brake damage, he just yells at you that your brakes are overheating all the time, which is not the information I need to hear. Where, as opposed to this crew chief, will tell me a bunch of information that is useful, but I might not need at the present moment. So we've gotten ourselves into position 3 in the go-karts, and I am trying to get used to not locking up the brakes in the go-kart, because if anyone's been following my channel and my streams for a while, you'll realize that I've been driving high downforce cars for a while, and I'm not used to the way that you have to brake in the low downforce configuration, at least for the first 4 laps. Mainly because the, I guess it's similar to how it would work in a real kart, where if you put just, it's like a fractional amount of distance of your foot on the pedal down a little too hard, you lock up the rears. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now, so I have to get back into how I actually drove karts. And then add in shifting in transmissions and going off track and spinning like that and losing first position and going down to 2nd and being on the 4th lap and not yelling at my engineer because he's not even speaking. So. I am, actually. I'm really used to yelling at the crew chief as I've spun out and almost collected 3rd place, so I'm in 4th again. I think we started 6th, I'm in 4th on the 2nd to last lap. But it looks like we're definitely going to get a podium if I don't crash it again. Karts are actually pretty fun to drive, mainly because they're challenging over these circuits. They kind of have the bump set up right. They just don't have the AI set up right for the bump. Gonna go up the inside of this AI, put us into P2, and that should close out the race. Yes, it does, and that should, in theory, put us second in the championship. So we should be doing quite well for ourselves at the moment, which is great. This is very nice to see. So we're gonna continue on. Got 17 points plus the 5, which should put us. Actually, puts us second in the championship, behind Alexander Ushkov for Victory Motorsports. I don't know how to read half of these names. But we've got Carlos Santos for Marionette in P4, and we've got, where's our teammate? Our teammate's in 8th. He's tied. No, our teammate's in 9th. I don't think the race is over, so they haven't really counted my teammate. But everyone on the bottom is in 9th. We've got 2 people fighting for 7th. So, this is going to be an awkward championship, but we're only down by 4 points, so we should be able to make that up fairly quickly. These carts aren't extremely hard to drive, but they can catch you out by how fast they trip from understeer to oversteer. It is quite quick, and if you're not quick to stay on top of it, you will get caught out and you might even crash, as I have done at least twice or 3 times on stream already. So we're going to look at said setup, and I believe we went with 0.3 with this because the last time we attempted to go with 0.2, it didn't quite work out for us last time around. We had loads of understeer.
Green, green, green.
That is our brilliant clutch start, puts us into P2. And it seems like we just have a lot more grip going on the entry in some phases of the corner. We're right behind Roy Christopherson. Who developed these names? I really want to know. Who at SMS signed the okay, we're just gonna call them random names that probably wouldn't exist in real life, as we're
okay, let's just make a random name generator and just use that.
That's what it seems like. As we've gone off, we tried to go up the inside and got tapped by Roy Christopherson. We're gonna see if we can go around the outside of this guy that looks like he has a Roman name. And we actually have successfully gone around the outside of him into the final corner. Kart seems fairly relatively well balanced. This guy in first is actually doing a really good job on defensive work, considering that there aren't many overtaking opportunities to begin with. And we've gotten run off the road on the final lap, unfortunately. Kind of pulled a Lewis on me. Ran me off the road like he did Nico today. That was kind of crazy. All fair and good in the world of karting. We are now first in the championship by 3 points. So the person that we passed, who was in P3 for this race, was our rival for the championship. Gonna go on to round 2. There's not much to change on the setup for this car, so we should be all right. Wait, Cooper, are you actually watching this on stream?
Green, green, green.
Okay, that's fine. I was just wondering.
I'm just playing Minecraft.
How is Minecraft going right now?
It's fun.
Like, I mean, did you finish the house? Ah. Oh, this is the underwater one, right?
Yeah. Underwater base.
Okay.
I would live stream it, but I don't want my friends seeing it.
Good point. Then they'll know how to destroy it.
No, it's the way that we're doing the realm is that
Good point. I love how the second I get distracted on stream while driving, I actually drove better, as I got ran into by the guy in P1, and I've cleanly passed him now, talking to you. So I guess I just do better with distractions than everyone else does, because that was just easier than I thought. Maybe it's probably when I'm actually intently racing. I might be thinking a little too much about it.
Yeah, I don't really think that. But my mind goes.
Maybe it's easier for me to do that when I am talking, but it seems that I am locking up the brakes quite a bit, and I don't exactly know why. Quite strange feat that is, but we are currently in first, and it seems like I've either worn out the rear tires or the balance of the cart has dramatically changed. Oh, it has changed because I've overheated the front tires. Didn't even realize that. I just thought I lost rear end grip. I've just lost grip on the right hand side of the cart. Handling it pretty well though. It's just turned into a drift machine, but
Drift machine, drift machine.
drift machine, bow 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 with the drift machine. Oh man, I wanted to see the replay of that. That's my fault, but we broke into the 119s that race just by talking. So we had Vinci, he won the last race, I came in third, and then we have myself win this race and he came in second. So it looks like it's a championship fight, but I'm winning just by the fastest laps. Which is pretty interesting, considering I don't think I've changed the fuel loads too much for these races. If I did, I've pre-done that, but I think that makes it... I believe that makes it our second or third race in a row, but I am not completely sure. As we move on to the third round of the Nationals, we're trying to get through the Kart 1 Championship as quickly as we can. For those who are still watching the stream or just started watching, please leave a rate and a comment down below if you like what you see. And possibly subscribe if you want to see more content such as this. I am Near with our secondary host Cooper, who will be our banter for this evening.
Enter.
Banter! Banter. Oh, we did change the fuel loads. It's 4 liters. Okay. That makes sense.
Are you actually using the 4 liters?
Oh, no. No. Use like 3/10 of a liter a lap or less. So I probably only need 1 or 2 to finish a race. So I usually carry more fuel than I need in the AI races. It's just that the AI, I think they run full fuel loads up until they get to the higher tiers where they actually seem to be lighter than the player, because it just seems their entry speed is ridiculous. You're just flat out ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous. But this is going to put us on to our second quick tip of the evening, which is going to be camber. Camber is more important than you may think, and I thought camber wasn't that important either until I started adjusting it and realizing it has a lot to do with changing the balance of the car. So in the karts, when we don't have many roll bars, settings to play with, and all of that nonsense, the only thing we have is the tire pressures.
Suspension.
What?
Karts are a fixed suspension, meaning that there is no suspension.
Yeah. So there's not really much of a suspension on a kart, of course. Go-karts are really just kind of go-karts.
Frame with axles.
A frame with axles. Cooper's going to correct me every time I get this wrong, which is a good thing, because we don't want to give you guys the wrong information. So a go-kart's basically a frame with axles, and since we don't really have a suspension with springs and shock absorbers and a bunch of different settings to play with, the only thing we have is the camber, and for the most part the tire pressures as well as the ride height, which is quite interesting that we have a ride height slider, but we have the ride height as well. I did adjust the ride height custom to match this circuit. This actually did take a bit of time, so if you'd like to take this down for future reference, if you're trying to start from the kart series as well and are having a bit of a difficult time and you might happen to use a wheel, those settings will help you out. I'm currently on a Fanatec CSR and cruising along with that. We don't really have bump stop. Don't let this slider lie to you. You adjust it, but it affects nothing. We do have gear ratios, which you can mess with, but I tend not to because then you mess with the torque in the engine. But these are the settings that I am running. You are free to take them down as you wish, and I don't think you can really change this much. You can only change the final drive ratio, which takes a bit to explain. I'll get to that later. But when you come to the camber, and weight bias does affect your kart's balance as well, but when you come to the camber, if you turn the front camber up, you seem to gain a little bit of turn in, but you lose a bit of mid-corner traction. If you turn it down, you get the mid-corner traction, but you'll get understeer into the corner. You want to find the point where you're getting into the corner, kinda. You got to trail the brakes a little to get the kart in. However, when you put the power down, you get a whole load of traction coming out of the corner. So the whole name of the game with cambers is try and get traction out of the corner. We're running 0.03 right now because I don't know what I should be running for this track, but I do know that I usually have a hard time driving this track. So we're currently using a clutch for those wondering why I'm getting such good starts, and you can dump it in the karts because
Green, green, green.
Rip for days.
you can dump the clutch in a kart for some.
The camber in the rear end, or only the front?
It's only the front for the karts for whatever reason.
No, that makes complete and utter sense. If they made so you could adjust the camber in the rear, I'd feel like, how the hell can you do that? There's like, this is a fixed straight axle. There's no way you can adjust the angle of the tires.
Yeah, they kind of made it pretty representative in that sense, and where you can't adjust the rear camber, but you can adjust the front. So it seems like from the testing I was doing, the name of the game is just to balance the front grip with the rear grip, that you can't really adjust all too much. So I'm trying to make it so that I get as little oversteer as possible, unless I want it. So I'm controlling the oversteer with my foot, but I don't want too much on entry to where I'm losing speed. It seems like I'm losing him out of that corner because I kind of just slid around trying to get into it. Mainly because I am not sticking to the act of braking aggressively in a straight line. Keep trying to trail as much in as I can, which you can do in a kart. It is very difficult. And you still want to brake in a straight line, it's just the amount you trail in is far less. That time I wasn't even trying to trail in, but as you can see, that is the consequence of having load on the tires on corner entry. You get a bit sideways the second you step on the brakes, and you end up like Carlos Sainz in Russia, in a wall. So he's learned his lesson, and hopefully we'll learn ours too in the coming races. And as we cross the line in first position, streaking away with the championship lead. So I believe even if we do lose the next race, there is no way that anyone's going to catch us in the championship, because Vinicus Vinci, this really looks like it's Roman, man. Our championship rival is just not going to make up that many points in one race.
Get ready.
He's starting like in the back of the grid, and the AI tend to stay in their relatively predicted grid spots. There's not much variation. We're going to lose P1.
Green, green,
off the start because the rolling starts on Project Cars are garbage. Absolute garbage. Don't you remember the time we like tried the rolling start in like the Formula P and like
got shifted down to like 4K kind of thing.
yeah, you got shifted down from like I think it was second or third all the way down to first.
Yeah, and the guy slammed on the brakes right as it went green, like the AI did. So I lost kind of speed. It was brutal, and people just passed me in a straight line. No, it's just like this.
Yeah. That definitely needs to be patched, but things to know about Project Cars. If you're hosting a session, never run rolling starts. You'll make everyone miserable. Because there's going to be a first lap incident. There's already a first lap incident regardless of what you do, but that just makes it more... That just solidifies the deal right there. There's some races you can get away with not having one, and then there are other online races where it is just inevitable. So... do not get yourself into those situations, as we are having a lot of understeer. I think we're approaching some of these corners a little too fast or not with enough lock. Or I'm just overheating the front again.
What's your favorite thing to do?
It is my favorite thing to do. Because that means I get to end up on the power in a straight line, and that's fun. It's either that or I get to drift. That's one of the two things. So we're currently 2 seconds ahead. Oh, and we've spun it. Oh, and we've taken someone out with us. I expected the cart to stop spinning and it kept on going, so my fault, Mr. Manuel, but we're on lap 5 out of 6 and we're down into 7th place, so we're definitely not going to win at this rate, but we can get some cool overtakes done around the outside of the final corner and then going into turn 1. Kind of bullied him a little bit there, but we're off into P5. So much grip into that corner. Well, we finished in P5, and we've definitely won the championship at this point. Which was pretty easy. It shouldn't be that easy at 100% difficulty, but unfortunately it is once you have a cart that's relatively decently balanced. It doesn't even have to be properly balanced, which says something else about the AI in Karts, as it is. But we're going to continue on to the... Let's see, we've got the email. We're going to continue on to the kart championship at Dubai Autodrome and see what we can do there. So I want to thank anyone who is watching for watching the live stream. If you want to see more content like this, please support the channel by liking and subscribing. But until the next moment, I am going to attempt to win this race from 2nd place. Actually, that shouldn't be all too hard.
Focus.
Now, a good thing to inform you guys about, we will kind of try and do a little bit of that into the first corner. I'm just gonna purposely get a bad start and still get a good start somehow.
Purposely get a bad start.
Oh, well, I guess that answered it. I got hit after spinning. And we're now in 11th place by 3 seconds. So on this straight, there is an invisible barrier. I'm gonna keep on going. Okay, we've officially wrecked the cart, and since we can't restart, all we can do is keep on driving. So I don't think we're gonna win this race by any means, but we're gonna see how well we can do in 4 laps. Didn't expect the cart in front to ultimately slam on the brakes that hard going into the corner. But at least this lets me showcase some of the quirks of this track and some things to watch out for while driving. I'm gonna start off with this section right here, which is very difficult to get right, and it just seems like there's multiple ways to get through that corner, and that was not one of them. As we go into turn 1, where you're carrying a lot of speed and momentum as much as you can, going into turn 2, and where I start Tokyo drifting everywhere. And on this straight, there's an invisible barrier on the left side, and if you try and overtake someone really far off of the racing line, you'll run straight into it, and it'll practically end your race like right there if it's a 3-lap race or a 4-lap race such as this one. Because then you have to reverse and turn right around. And I have completely failed at driving this entire weekend so far, as I'm just spinning the tires around and around in a circle. I think I'm pushing a little bit too hard, having to put a lot of lock in for this circuit. That does not incur you a penalty, so you can take a low to speed in, but I just don't seem to have the grip to get through some of these lower speed corners. So we're going to see if we can finish higher than last, since the cart isn't severely damaged and we've almost hit a wall. We are running 9 liters of fuel, which is quite a lot, especially when we're only doing 4 laps. But a lot of this is down to driving and not necessarily the fuel loads, as the AI aren't necessarily quick. And someone's in the wall, so that's gifted us 11th place! Yay! And then we get to make another overtake. And if you can make it around the outside and cut back to the inside, we made 10th place. So we've gotten to 10th place in 4 laps. And we're gonna see if we've set the fastest lap, which I doubt, because we've been sliding everywhere. This has probably been the worst driving I've done in a while. But we did make it, and we have managed to keep a 10th place, and I believe we've set the fastest lap as well, which has put us into 6th, because we did manage to score 5 points. So we're going to edit our little setup here. We're going to put this more forward. Actually, yeah, we're going to put it more forward. And we're going to just go to 0.3 and see how well we do. .3 seems to be the motto so far, as we are now back on the awful rolling start, which is taking us off the track. Okay.
Green, green, green.
And it seems like we've lost a position off the line, but went around the outside to get it back. So we're up into 9th place. So we've actually, in terms, gained a position. There's debris flying everywhere, which leads me to believe that the battle up front is getting a little awkward. And we've got a ton of grip on entry. And we've just knocked off Antello by mistake. Not expecting everyone to bottleneck up in some of these sectors. It seems like we've got a properly balanced kart that seems to have a bit of wheel scrub. So we've gotten the tire... We've gotten the tire pressures wrong. It's either that or the track's just heated up enough that we're just destroying them at the moment, but the car's still balanced, so not sure what to say about that, but gone up the inside. We're going to see if we can go up the inside for turn 2, which we have successfully done. And we're looking at P4, and we're going to go around the inside of him. Thought it was going to be the outside, but next corner doesn't make it such. We're in P3. Having a bit of a scruffy time trying to keep the kart in order. So many people going slowly through some of the sections, as well as some snaps of oversteer that aren't quite welcome. Are you just getting so much grip on the exit or the mid-corner phase of some of these sections that it's inviting to plant the power down a little too early and get some wheel spin and just drift through the corner. But we're gonna go take the weird karting line through there because there aren't as many cut tracks, and we're going to oversteer right onto the other side of the road so we don't hit an invisible barrier. As these cars seem to be just slowing right down to 1K into some of these corners, which is really throwing me off. Keeping in mind that I'm having a difficult time trying to stay on the road as it is with all of this fun oversteer as we go into the dirt. We've only lost one place. It was actually entertaining to be driving on this much of a slip angle all the time. Okay, I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. Yeah, I did. I definitely did. So I hit the rumble strip with the rear of the tire. So good strategy for this track. Don't do what he did and run over the outside rumble strip, and you never want to hit any of these rumble strips with the rear wheels or else you're completely gone. You don't want to shift down too early or else you'll end up like me with all of this oversteer. As I've just found out that most of my issues have been shifting down way too early, just being in the moment and trying to get into some of these unusual lines that the AI are getting into. We're now in lap 5 out of 6. We're very close to P2. Trying to stay within the white lines. We've gone up the inside cleanly. And it seems like we might be able... Never mind. Person in the pink kart has closed us off in P1 and is John Hallett. That's actually the most original American sounding name ever. John Hallett. Sounds like a guy from the South. Whoa. So we're racing wheel to wheel with John Hallett, who's delightfully just gifted us a place right there. Actually, he probably hasn't because we've gone off. And he's stayed around the inside. So we're going to have to give that back. Meanwhile, the person in P2 is challenging us. Good move, John Hallett. Good move. He's trying to slow us down by braking early. And he's made the same mistake all the race, and that's definitely costing there. I've just thrown it up the inside. No contact, but definitely leads me to victory. And we're off and away by a second on the final lap. So we've completely destroyed the front tires, as you can see on the graph, which really isn't that much. We still had 90% tire condition. Kart tires don't really wear all that much, so you can practically go the whole season without facing much tire wear. But you only use 0.1 of a liter a lap, so we ended up with 9.3 liters at the end. And that race result should put us at the top of the board for the championship by exactly 1 point ahead of John Hallett at round 1. So John Hallett was the man to beat, and we smacked him at the end of round 1. So we're going to continue on through the series calendar on to the next race. Round 2 out of 5 at Glen Cairn once again, but this is the hills layout, as I like to dub it, which is quite difficult to navigate the AI around because they don't do quite well on this circuit, especially into turn 1. So the strategy for this race, just if you guys are unaware, is to just make sure that you're not too close to them into the first sector, mainly because they all bunch up and freak out. And don't try an outside pass into any of these corners because they are just faster. I don't know how to explain it. The AI are just faster entering that corner. As we've gotten pushed a little wide by John Hallett, our championship rival. So he's in P7 and we're in P12 because we've shifted all the way down to neutral and spun ourselves out. Classic mistake in a go-kart. But let's see if we can set some laps now as we come through the first sector sideways, but we managed to keep the kart under control. We're gonna see if we can keep this kart as flat as we can through these rough sections. Let's see what we can do into the turn 1 complex. We've done relatively well going up the inside, but we've been hit by the AI. So this is what I get for not following my own advice. You never want to make a move into that corner because they will always fight you. They'll always cause an incident even if you're right alongside them. A lot of understeer I'm picking up. I can't blame it on dirty air because we're in go-karts. Go-karts don't have a huge amount of aerodynamic principles to them. Another move into the first turn. Let's put us into P10. We've run over Colin Ladman, or Landman, I'm not sure. We're gonna let him by because he's just gonna run us over anyway. And we're gonna see That was a nice little save there, but it hasn't really saved us as we put ourselves down to neutral again. So we went from a decent position to an awful position. And the only thing that is going to save us now is the fact that we've set fastest lap. So key to kart championship, set fastest lap. You will still remain champion with points, as we are only 3 points from losing the championship. Our rival is in third in the drivers. Some Chinese guys in second, and we are in first. John Hallett being the only driver on the top 5 not to win a race other than John Nielsen. I feel like John Nielsen is an actual person, but I believe he's like actually related to a YouTuber. But
Stay calm, focus.
we're going to continue to drive
Green, green,
as well as we can without changing anything on the setup, because once you get the tires right, it's usually up to driving at that point. And it just seems like these AI really have a difficult time trying to get through this section. We've made our way to P9 on the start. We're just trying to cleanly stay behind Nagy, is what we're going to call him, because I cannot read his first name. Going to use that grip to our advantage. And go around the outside of Nagy, which he does defend quite well. We're going to just dive it through the middle up into turn 1, and we've caught John Hallett, who's third in the drivers. We're going to see if we can pass him out of sector 2. We've taken the inside of the corner and we've bullied him a little bit and spun ourselves once again, but we haven't shifted down into neutral, so we've kept 10th place. A little bit of an ambitious move. I apologize. As we're now in the grass once again, trying to stay behind some of these carts is a little bit tricky, especially when you have to get on the brakes after you've already gotten onto the accelerator. So you have 3 laps to make up 10 positions, or close to 10 positions. Not sure that it's going to be all that easy, but let's see what we can do. Okay, I just went against my own advice and managed to make an overtake around the outside into that corner. So now I'm not sure whether to say it's not possible or to say it's just hard to get right consistently. Well, it's clearly possible if I just did it, so we're going to go with the second alternative. We're on lap 5 out of 6 and we made it up to P9. Let's see how much speed we can carry into turn 1. Right on the back of Nagy in P7 at the moment. Come on. And this is where the AI go very slowly on the exit of that corner, as well as on the entrance to the next set of corners. Locked up the brakes, but we've managed to keep a hold of the cart. It seems like in one sector we've caught the carts ahead by a little bit. it doesn't seem like we'll catch them enough to get into 5th or 6th for this race. So we'll stay P7. But we've driven quite well to get ourselves here, so I wouldn't say quite well because we've kind of spun out and taken somebody off by mistake. But driven well enough to get some decent points. So I believe in the drivers we should be actually in 3rd by 3 points. So we have been surpassed by Azer X Dabara with his 2 wins to my 1, but we're only 3 points behind with General and John Hallett, who is way behind us. So it's a 3-way battle for the championship in round 2, with 2 of the 3 with the exact same amount of points. So we should be able to rig it back in the next round, which is, oh my lord, it's Chesterfield. We might be screwed on this one since I'm not allowing myself to restart the car. Oh boy.
Be ready. Watch for the lights.
So the track's cold, but we're starting from pole, so this should be interesting. Never mind! Apparently I've jumped the start. Okay. So Alex has gotten more points than us, and Ryu hasn't even scored points. So the people in the top 3,
Get ready, mate. It's hammer time.
the 2 out of 3 people in the top 3 haven't scored any points. So we gotta make something happen on this second round of Chesterfield. Race 3, round 3. Gotta make some magic happen. Gotta make some John Cena happen, as someone went very slowly on the exit, and I've just tapped them. They've politely driven themselves off, which wouldn't happen. Typically when someone gets hit from behind, they don't go straight by that much. They typically let off the gas and start turning to see how much they can save the car by. So there goes the immersion, but immersion's been gone for quite a while. We're gonna try and see if we can get around John Hallett later, as it takes a lot not to run these AI over, rather than the opposite, where it takes a lot to get around them in racecraft. Here it's just that they're going so much slower, such a large pace difference, that it's hard not to kill them. Especially when they try to race you and they don't know what they're doing. Well, John Hallett seems to understand what he's doing, but some of the other AI maybe not, as we've gotten a little too gracious with the accelerator. I am just not having a good set of races this season. So we're going to go around the outside and lock up the brakes going into the next corner. Okay. Our objective is to get, at the very least, a 3rd position, but we've only got about 2 laps to do it. So our objective is going to try and be to get around John Hallett cleanly. Which it seems like it's not exactly my braking that's getting me around, but just staying flat out on the throttle going back up the hill. I must have hit a bump. It's just upset the car enough to spin it sideways going on to the entry to the next corner. A little bit of a push, but it's getting a little frustrating trying to drive and then have someone step on the brakes leaving a corner. Good move from Colin. So we've managed to put ourselves into the 5th position. And we seem to be doing decent on pace. But we've managed to put ourselves into 2nd place by 1 point. But Azer is just stomping us right now with his 2 wins. He's gotten 56 points. So it seems like our only chance is going to be to win the next 2 races. Which should make it interesting. Actually, we might not even need to win the next 2 races. We might only need to win the next 2 rounds, or within the next 4 rounds have 2 wins. So we've got Azer in 3rd, just ahead of myself.
Be ready.
So we're gonna see how well we can drive for this season.
Green, green, green.
A little bit of a cheeky start there, but sometimes things have to get done. A lot of understeer into that corner as Frank Mine has gone up around the inside of that corner. Gonna try and see if we can sniff a bit of a move coming out of this section, because it's relatively straight lined on this end. Gonna go up the inside of Frank Mine. He's gonna tap us out and then start to accelerate out of the corner. Alright, so we're going to brake really deep into turn 1, carry the speed through the middle, and see if we can get on the power early enough to put ourselves in position for a move in the 2nd sector. Where Frank Mine has almost touched us and just barely squeezed us out as we followed him into the dirt. So it's a decent battle here. I haven't actually been run off the road yet, but I can't trust the AI to get my hopes up. So, going up the inside is turn 1. And Frank Mine has turned into my line. Actually, let's just watch the replay, because I want to see whether or not this is just me for the most part, or some of the AI making mistakes that typically won't happen. So we're going to even go onto the side view. So I'm going to go down the straight, we're going to go up the inside, brake, and he's just going to turn right into my line. Wow. Nice racecraft, buddy. Nice racecraft. And then we get run into the back of by Mr. Samuel, but we're not taking that from you, Mr. Samuel. Gonna push you off the track like you did to us just then. And we're gonna try and catch P1 by setting the fastest lap we can. So we will not win this Grand Prix, but we've come pretty close. We're in P2 by about a tenth, which should put us up the order into first for the championship. So we didn't even have to exactly win the championship. We just had to get within the top 3 in order to pass Azar Extabara, who's gone down the order. So we're going to start from the 2nd position to Frank Mine. And we should get the jump because Pole always gets the bad AI.
Go, go, go.
And I feel like I've just been hit, so I don't know what to do. Going very wide for that corner. Taking a little bit of a trip into the dirt. So we've got Colin Landman. His name is actually Colin Landman. Behind us. We're gonna see how fast we can go, but we really only need to cruise at this point because it's going to take a bit of effort for him to catch up, and as I say that, I've run off twice. So, John Hallett is now behind me. I'm in P3. It just seems like every time I speak about the race win, I tend to spin myself out. So let's just take it as easy as we can and see if we can get the pace out of the corners that way. Which it seems like we're not. And that's what I mean by carry more speed. They seem to release the brake pressure, try and get a move done, but then they try to go around the outside and steal your line, which is rather annoying, I would like to say, but gonna go up the inside of John Hallett. And go off into the grass because it just seems like we don't have any turning into the corner. It just seems like it wants to understeer off a bit. But we managed to get position 3 behind Frank Mine and the other driver in the first position. They're about 3 seconds ahead due to my poor track craft at the moment. But it seems like we're getting a little bit closer. We're not going to be in contention to make an overtake, but we'll definitely be there and thereabouts. As we cross the line in the 3rd position for Somerton. And I don't think that we had a very good run that session, but we've managed to get fastest lap once again, and we've managed to take the championship by 10 points ahead of Azer X Debarra, so he must have had a bad race as well. So it's only me and Azer at the top for the championship, and there's only 1 round left in the season to get something done. So we're going to go straight to the Greenwood karting circuit for the final round of the season, so we can start getting ourselves into a luxurious supercart. So let's look at the setup and see all of the settings that do indeed come with it. You can pause the video or flip through for...
Recording this or you live streaming this?
I'm doing both because it saves up to 4 hours of my live stream. So,
You live streaming on Twitch?
on YouTube.
Be ready.
I only live stream awesome stuff on Twitch.
Awesome stuff. Okay.
Green, green, green.
Wow. The AI really do try to let you get a good start. I just went and waited until the first driver went, and it took a while for the second driver to actually move, so I think they have the reaction time of lost puppies, because that is just sad. Supposed to be karting drivers, and that's all you can do? You spend all this money on a kart, you can't get off the line? Really? But we're having a decent race so far. We've got Nagy in front of us, and all we have to do is try and stay within the top 3 for the rest of this race, which is a little difficult to speak and drive at the same time, especially in the corner entry. But hopefully we're able to make something out of it for you guys. Alongside Nagy, couldn't get the move done in that corner. I was a little optimistic. Lost the rear end touching the curb as Nagy attempts to streak off into the distance. We do have about the same amount of fuel as the AI, so it is going to be a little bit of a challenge to try and get around. We won't have a straight line speed advantage by all that much. Gonna go into the next set of corners with so much more grip on the exit that we get to go up the inside for the next corner. Nagy going around the outside and holding it. Wow! Some clever stuff right there. We're on the second to last lap of the first round. I'm going to see if I can get a move done into the second set of complexes. Too late to think about a move there. And went a little too wide to pick up the grip. So our only opportunity might just be the next hairpin, which it looks like we're too far back for. But never say never. As we picked up the grip along the inside, going into the next corner. And it seems like we've done it. We've gone around him in the middle sector of the last lap, but we've went very far wide. We've managed to secure the win by 2/10. So, pretty nice battle between myself and Mikolos Nagy, coming in the second position. But we've nabbed 100 points with 2 wins, and Azer's only nabbed 74, so This championship is just locked out. There's no way anyone else can win it.
Get ready.
We are the kart world champion after having a bunch of mistakes, which is kind of hilarious. We spun out, we finished last a few times, and managed to win the championship. And this is why we shouldn't get the bonus points for fastest lap, as Nagy's gone up the inside. We've got the speed on the exit of the second corner. Aren't able to capitalize it because it's too close to Nagy going into the next set of corners, but we've gone up the inside of Ralph Groen. I want to say Ralph Groen, but that wouldn't work. You want to be very careful of this grass and some of these rumble strips because they can do really weird things to your cart, as you can see right there. I went into a little bit of a half drift, half spin-esque maneuver. We're going to try and follow behind Mr. Nagy. We've got 6 laps to get something done, so we don't have to push too hard. As took a lot of correction to try and keep the cart from going off, but just talking about it made me lose it into the second corner, so we're back behind Ralph Groen. I'm having a lot of difficulty.
I wonder if you're making mistakes because you're trying to speak what you're planning on doing.
Yeah, that's what it's turning on to. Every time I start speaking, I'm just not driving. So we should be able to pick up a move into the next lap. Just got to take it easy. Gonna let him take that back, considering that he's just gonna turn into the apex anyway. Seems like they don't have an idea for watching out for their cart during a race. It's like, yeah, I've spent 100 grand on this cart. Let's just throw it away here.
Do they really spend 100 grand?
No, it's probably closer to like 5 or 10. Oh God! That's not what you want to do out of that corner. So now I've got to put in some fantastic laps, so it might get a little quiet. Just went over a rumble strip. Really, it was a giant curb. You don't try and squeeze me, ho. It's my track. And that's a lot of understeer. We're in P3 at the moment.
Do you have your HUD disabled or something?
I don't think I have it disabled yet. No, I don't. I'm just not paying attention to it. Come on. Oh man. It was pretty close coming toward the end. But we've got Nagy, who's officially won, I believe, 2 races out of the season, which might put us on... No, actually, no, we've just won the championship. It's over. Azer Axabara has come into second place, and Mikolos Nagy has come into third for the kart championship. So I think that concludes this episode for the Kart 1 championship season. So I believe we now get to go into the Super A carts, or the Super Carts as some like to call them. And we've won pretty by quite a large margin. We have I believe it's like 30-40 points to the next car with 2 wins. And I believe everyone within the top 3 has gotten 2 wins. We've got Mikolos Nagy with his 2 wins, putting him with 56 points. We've got Azer X Tabara with his 2 wins, putting him at 78 points. And we've got Alex Peck, which is us, with 2 wins, putting us into the lead of the championship with 115 points. Our teammate didn't even make the top 10. It's off in 11th with 34 points. So you did nothing for the championship, the constructors championship, sir. Did nothing for the Dark Nitro team. Had to pull all of that weight. How could you? How could you disappoint me? Alright, so the next event is the Glencairn Kart Trophy, but we don't need to do that because we finished this season. So now we get the end of the season and we get to have a career offer for a 250 cubic... is it cubic centimeters? Cubic centimeter supercar? Maybe that's just the displacement. But get to drive the supercar. We're gonna go with Torque Riders because Grease Lightning sounds very perverted.
Grease Lightning.
Sounds very perverted. Like Cooper, what would you do if you're like driving for Grease Lightning? It's just like, it's like, oh, I'm driving for Greased Lightning. So greasy.
We'd be the greasy boys.
The greasy boys.
Take it right off the bottom of the grill and slap it right onto your hand.
Oh my lord.
Thick and crunchy, just the way you like it.
This is so not PG, dude.
Rub that stuff on your face, you get super happy.
Yeah, you do.
Like you get zits the size of pennies.
Okay, but
And if you're a woman, and you put that stuff on your face, people will start looking at your face instead of your breast because they'll be going, damn, that's a huge zit.
oh, why? That's a huge zit, essay. But we're going on to the Super Kart Nationals. Nationals! In our kart that we cannot change the color of because it's team designated. So whatever team you choose, that is the car that you get for the main season. In all of the track events, you get other karts. So our kart is already set up for this race for the most part. I believe I might need to add some downforce. Less rear downforce does help with competing with the other super karts in a straight line, but the extra rear downforce will help you keep your consistency up. So, quick tip number 3. In a race, run slightly more downforce just to balance the car out, just because when you get on worse tires and you're on your crazy balls to the wall setup for qualifying times, you might find it a little difficult to manage all of the oversteer moments that happen in the car. So I believe this is a locked differential just by looking at the settings. We've got 100% acceleration, 100% deceleration, 100% preload, and the preload is what would control open or closed, and with all of that completely all the way out, this would be a locked differential, which is going to be a little bit weird to drive. So gonna drive a slightly more downforce. This setup was made for a little less downforce on the rear, because that is the only wing angle you can change here in the supercart. You can also change the roll bars, which will help your overall car balance, as you will, coming into mid-corner and on the exits. So a good thing to note about the supercarts is that you're going to need to take it a little bit easier on the colder tires, because all practice sessions start with cold tires. You will rarely have a race start with cold tires, but the practice sessions will start with cold tires, and you don't always want to bounce off the rev limiter. Sometimes it's better just to shift early, because you get a little bit more torque and you stay high enough in the rev range to just continuously get a bounce of torque. In fact, you will see on some of my replays, when you get onto the straightaways, I will have so much torque going through the rear wheels that they'll literally start smoking going down the straightaway. So that... What's up?
It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it seems like when you shift on the 6th light out of, I believe, what is 9, you get 9 lights. And if you shift on light 6, which is the yellow one before they get into the red zone, because it starts out green and goes all the way to red, you get a lot of straight line boost. So it's all
Turbo kind of power boost.
pretty much. You get enough of a boost to just overtake the other carts like they're standing still. Like, it's kind of ridiculous.
Interesting.
Like, you can catch the other carts by like alarming rates, especially when you have lower fuel loads mixed in. You'll just start catching the other competing carts by a huge amount. Right now we currently have understeer with the current setup because it was made for less downforce, but we are able to put the power down without killing ourselves. So I believe this all works out, as we've stolen pole position by quite a margin. And we've avoided the death corner of turn 1, which has a little bit of a downshifted a little too quickly there. Another thing to note in the supercarts for you guys watching the stream, if you are in fact watching the stream or watching it after the fact, is that in the supercarts, I'm probably going to cut this up into segments afterwards in the highlight reel, but in these supercarts you want to kind of, in your own way, make sure that you don't downshift too fast. And the main reason is, it seems as if you lose compression, you lose a bit of braking, engine braking. It seems as if you lose engine braking, the compression in the engine when you shift down too fast in supercarts. And it isn't all too good. So the only other way to explain that, because there are two ways this could happen, is either you're losing the engine braking, or it's either you're shifting down too fast causing a lot of engine braking, which is ultimately overloading the brakes. But at the moment, I'm just having fun driving around this track of Alton Park with a car that just has a tiny bit of understeer but seems all too fun to drive. We've caught ourselves up to a battle and tapped the deadly corner going up the hill. That bump will kill you during a race, so be warned. These carts also get affected by aerodynamics since they have a giant rear wing on them, so make sure you don't do things too crazy. As you could take yourself off and everyone else with you. But you can just look at the speed difference we get from just shifting early. And you can look at the amount of control we get just by having 3 ticks on the wing. It is just crazy the things we can get away with in this kart. So what I might do is since I'm doing these setups before practically every race, I might just release the kart setups as their own thing. So I have a lot of things that I can do with this, but this is just going to be a live thing I do just for fun for the most part.
So much thinking to do. Then I have to go make the actual attribute in my place. I hope that Kyle doesn't like log on to see me flipping around in the ocean.
Oh god, nope, 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 nope. Okay, the dirt is very deadly in this game. Kart's gone up the inside, we've done the cut back because we've just got so much of a, our kart is quicker by leaps and bounds. Just the amount of speed we can get in a straight line is quite ridiculous. That's not the fastest way around, but it's given us some feedback on what we should do the next time we come into that corner, which is adjust the angle a little bit. Looks like we've taken a little bit out of the fronts. Gotten the brakes wrong. We're still in the 50-second laps. And I believe that's just going to end it for this practice session. So we're just going to skip to the end, in which we have topped the second by about 1.8 seconds. In less laps. So we're going to go into the next session said about 3 times, and then retire to the pits for the rest of the session, as we probably don't need that much running on this circuit, as we do have more downforce to work with. Gotten more fuel in qualifying than we did in the practice session, so we should go a little bit slower, but not by much. It's only 1 extra liter as we spin off into the dirt and crash into the wall. Okay, let's see who's coming around the corner. Stay to the right. Yellow flags waving for the sector, and we're just giving the notification that we're all clear. So we're just going to try and see how well we can do here in the qualifying session. We've gotten the balance wrong, and it seems like we've gotten our lap time invalidated after going off in the grass and doing a little bit of a dance. We've even gotten our 2nd lap time validated, as looks like a cart has practically gone off the circuit, and we have as well, trying to avoid him, but seems like all is well currently. And we should be able to... Wow, I can't even read his last name. What in the world is that letter? That must be from a completely different language. Jeez. So let's see if we can shift a little down a little bit faster, what that'll do. Alright. Got a snap of oversteer from hitting that bump. We're gonna see if we can just pull ourselves up the odor a little bit. When we've got a cart stuck on the track and he's lost all his bodywork, and I would just run over a rear wing. Don't know what that does, but seems to be getting the hang of these brakes. Downforce on the cart allows us to brake fully, but not for very long. You can trail off to about 70 or 80%. You get maximum braking. Which should help our exits quite a bit. Whoa. Well, that's it for qualifying because we've just crashed it. Just gonna skip to the end to see what goes down, and it seems like no one could go faster than a 52-second lap. Personal record that I can remember is about a 49-second lap around Oulton Park Fosters. So those are the settings for the kart, and let's get on to the race.
Okay, get ready.
Hello, Lewis Richards, and welcome to the stream. Yeah, had quite a bit of shunt there.
Green, green.
It definitely is, and that's what we're going to try and work our way up to at the moment. But in the meantime, we are stuck in supercarts until we can at the very least get into the Formula C or Formula Golf. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the Formula C. I do have some Oh yeah, we'll get the Formula Rookie as well, but that's still a bit slow, and it's fun to drive in a way, but it's still a bit slow for the tires. So
The supercar is definitely much faster than the Formula Rookie.
yeah, which is, I'm confused why they don't put it toward in front of the Formula Rookie rather than, I don't know why they don't put it after the Formula Rookie, really. But I do have some Formula A or some Formula 1 content on my channel if you'd like to take a look at it. The link should be down in the description of the video, but I do weekly races for a Formula A league, and the next race should be this Wednesday. I'm not sure if I'll be able to participate because I do have work, but I will definitely be participating on the Saturday, and there are live broadcasts from that which should be hosted on the Twitch channel. However, I do export them over to YouTube if I don't have any technical issues with OBS. So you can check a few of those out. Currently, I believe this is Lewis Hamilton's third not consecutive, but third championship this year.
Third
So,
championship and 2 in a row.
2 in a row, which is a bit groundbreaking because I don't think a British driver has done that since the 70s,
Yeah.
which is quite a long time ago. And if Mercedes keeps his pace going into next year, he might even break some more records. So he might be even with Vettel for 4 world championships, which would be interesting to see.
Vettel did it 4 times in a row.
He wouldn't beat that record, but he'd definitely be up there in terms of just full championships. They'd both have 4 championships to their belt, which would put them practically dead even. Not completely in stats, because Vettel has broken more records, but he'd be up there. He'd be over Alonso, which I think Alonso's only got 2 or 3 world championships. And Jensen has only gotten 1 world championship in 2009. Had some brilliant drives then. He's having some brilliant drives now, and I'm surprised I'm talking throughout this entire video. I'm like trying to read. I won't be able to read it until a sec. I am as well. I am definitely a huge supporter of Lewis Hamilton, especially his performances in the wet conditions. They are to die for, as well as his steady work on the brakes, which I think the only person that can match that on the grid so far would be either Verstappen himself or maybe even Ricardo. So it'd be between Ricardo and Verstappen, because they do well on their drives as well. But we are now, I think we have, in fact, put ourselves into top of the Drivers' Championship by about 20 points by setting the fastest lap as well, which adds 5 to our 15. Jensen, I don't think it was Jensen in 2008, because Hamilton's first title came in 2008. Jensen's came right after that, and then they both ended up in McLaren for 2010. I might have to look that up later, but I'm pretty sure Lewis Hamilton's first championship was in 2008, and he missed it by a single point in 2007. And I think Kimi Räikkönen actually won 2007.
Jensen Button got his in 2009.
Yeah. I thought Räikkönen...
There was actually been a Canadian who's actually gotten a world championship.
Was it Jack Villeneuve?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going crazy. It was Jack Villeneuve.
In
But
1997.
nice!
Watch for the lights.
I don't think we have a Russian yet, but things are coming to follow. I might get... Okay. Yeah.
Green, green, green.
I don't think we've had a Russian or a Japanese driver win a world championship yet, but that'd be something to see. As well as we haven't had a woman win a world championship yet. I haven't watched the end of the Petite Le Mans to see if she actually won the WEC for, I think it was Porsche, either Porsche or Aston Martin. But she was pretty quick, so I can't really complain all about too much. But that was an intense race when I was watching. I think I was watching the first part of it, and there was rivers going throughout the track and quite a few people having difficulties. I think 1 or 2 LMPs spun off and things happened that way. But to anyone still watching the stream, it would be a huge support to like and subscribe for future content like this. If you'd like to see content like this, if you'd like to see something a little different, let me know in the comments. And I'll see if I can change that up for you. We're currently P1 in the Superkarts, and someone's already destroyed their car! Wow. That is...
Actually, apparently, in the most successful country in terms of constructors is the United Kingdom. They have
What,
36
England?
total world constructors championships won.
Wow. I don't think... I believe Germany hasn't had many, because I think Mercedes had to, like, leave the sport for a while because of the incident that happened. I believe I forget which track it was, but I think it was at Le Mans. They had that big crash and a bunch of people died.
Yeah, they left motorsport.
So they left motorsport, but it seems like every time they're in motorsport, they just stomp on everybody. Just kick them while they're down.
The tire manufacturer that's actually done the most is
Cooper?
no, Goodyear.
Goodyear.
Tire manufacturer.
Yeah. It's a shame that we don't have Goodyear and Michelin back in the sport, but I mean...
Bridgestone has the second most.
Yeah. It's kind of sad we don't have multiple tire manufacturers anymore, but then again, if we truly think about it, we don't run enough testing anyway. So I guess really there's not... The other tire manufacturers wouldn't really be able to completely keep up with Pirelli because they don't get to run enough testing. And that's kind of the state that Formula One is in at the moment. It seems like the people that can pull it back can't, because they aren't allowed the testing days to actually attempt to pull it back. See what situation McLaren's in at the moment. They might get a bit of relief come next year. I believe they might have quite a bit of a package come next year, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near a Mercedes package. I think it might be closer to a Ferrari or just slightly better than a Renault. So,
That's if Renault even has a car that's going to use that.
that is right. I believe they're entering the sport pretty soon, but I forget which year that was supposed to be, as we've been setting fastest lap this entire race, talking about Formula 1. I have not crashed yet, unlike the karting championship that we did previously, that we still won the championship to, coming last about twice or three times. And we're ahead by 9 seconds in a supercart, which probably shows how comfortable I am with all of this downforce going on. Downforce! Downforce, baby! Oh!
Really funny, I'm looking at it as well. Ferrari is the most successful constructor.
Of course, they've also been in the sport since the beginning of time. So it kind of makes sense.
Who's the second most successful?
Was it Red Bull?
McLaren.
McLaren. All right, McLaren's been in longer than Red Bull and Mercedes, so that makes sense as well. I forgot about it.
Williams is third.
Them in their ride height adjusting car, and Lotus with its ground effects.
Brabham got 4.
Brabham had some pretty good designs as well.
Brabham came up with, like, Brabham found a loophole in the regulations one year, and they actually managed to, basically, they made a Formula 1 car that was like the Red Bull X project.
Oh, that's the fan car that they made, right?
Yeah.
Or was that Tyrrell? I'm trying to remember. Was that Tyrrell or was that Brabham?
It was Brabham.
Okay.
And
So-
they won that race by like 30 seconds, and then they just retired out of the championship because they didn't want people doing that the next year after, kind of thing. It was.
I thought it was because the team didn't want to completely destroy the driver and constructors.
It was they didn't want to destroy the sport.
Pretty
They
much.
would have won that entire championship. They would have won every single race. Kind of.
Yep.
Red Bull and Mercedes are tied with 5th with Brabham as well.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. Especially with Mercedes, they only had... How many years did they have that weren't completely up to par? I think it was from... When did they enter? Was it...
They were in the beginning as well, but they pulled out in, was it the 60s or something like that, when they had the massive accident.
I know, but when did they re-enter? Was that 2010?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
That they re-entered? And
I
then...
don't know.
And they didn't get... They got the...
It was somewhere in the 2000s.
Yeah, they got the benefit of a decent car in 2013, and from 2013 onwards, they've just been really good.
Well, 2013, their car just chewed through tires, and that's what kind of hurt them in the end.
Yeah, but they definitely had the pace.
Yeah, definitely. They had a good chassis.
All right, but here we go for our next round, round 2 in the Superkart Championship. Donington, one of the most difficult tracks on brakes that I know of, especially the GP circuit, with a lot of turns and a lot of heavy braking zones, but not many places to cool the brakes themselves. So if you're watching and would like to support the channel or see more content like this, such as the live Project Cars career mode, please click on the like button down below. Let me know what you think. I am actively reading the comments on my tablet right next to me. I may not answer completely immediately because I might be focused or in the zone or something, but when I'm in a chill session like this, definitely respond as quickly as possible. We're just going to go on to drive for the practice session and see what can come up with it. I believe this race, it may rain from the testing I did earlier. I know one of these races it does rain. It's either in this kart or in the Formula Rookie it begins to rain.
Yeah.
Oh!
Germany only has 2 drivers to ever won a world championship. Michael Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel.
That's
South
hilarious.
Africa got one.
So-
New Zealand.
Wait, who won for South Africa?
Jody.
Jody Scheckter?
Yeah.
Oh wow. I didn't know he was from South
In
Africa.
1979.
We have a bunch of people from Brazil.
Yeah, there is a bunch. Well, actually, there's only
Was it
3.
2? There's 3? Because we already know one of them's Senna.
Yeah.
The second one is PK. Yeah. Who is the third one now?
Emerson.
Fittipaldi. I forgot he was Brazilian. Okay.
Yeah. Australian Jack Brabham. Yeah.
Hopefully Daniel Ricciardo at one point.
Australian?
Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo's from...
Alan Jones is decent.
I know I said Daniel Ricciardo at some point. I didn't say he'd already won one.
Austria's only had 2, Niki Lauda and Russia.
Hasn't England had quite a few?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's only been one French driver to ever win.
Who was that?
Alan Prost.
Ah! Wow!
And Fernando Alonso is the only Spaniard to win a Formula 1 championship before. Mario Andretti and Hill are the only 2 Americans. And there's 2 Italians. There's it's like Giuseppe Guarani. I have no clue how to say that. But then there's Ascari. He won 2 championships.
Alright.
There's a list of just British drivers that have won.
We already know, what was it? I'm trying to remember. My head hurts. I'm trying to corner and trying to think of drivers at the same time. Oh man, I should know his name.
Oh,
It's, Hill. No, it's Graham Clark. What am I talking about? Damn idiot. Graham Clark! Graham Clark.
Hill, there's Jim Clark.
Oh, it's Jim Clark. I mixed Graham Hill and Jim Clark. I feel like an idiot now.
There's also Damon Hill.
Damon. Oh yeah, Damon Hill did win one for Williams. There was Hunt. He won one. I'm forgetting first names right now.
Oh, James.
Yeah, James Hunt. He won. He only won one. Like, he won one and then just like, yep, I'm done. Peace. And I've almost flipped a supercart and gotten stuck in the gravel. So I'm going to return to the pit box because we're up by 2.8 seconds.
Jenson Button won the 2009 championship when he was racing for Braun.
Yeah, which was powered by who? Honda. Right? I thought it was Honda.
Mercedes.
Is it?
Pulled out.
No, I thought it was a Honda engine in it.
No, Honda engines pulled out pretty early.
Oh.
In 2000s.
So Braun was a Mercedes then. In that case, if they just absolved the Braun team, that's pretty OP.
wow, that's that Fernando Alonso got was with
Renault.
yeah. What driver holds the record for most world championships in a row?
I thought it was Schumacher. He had 7.
It is no 5.
5?
Yeah, 5 in a row. He won from the year 2000.
I thought he had the most total championships, which was 7.
Yeah, he's got 7 total, but he got 5 in a row with Ferrari.
Jesus. I think I might just end the live stream here because my throat is pretty hoarse right now, and we're 2 seconds ahead.
And Nigel Mansell won that one with Williams. Benetton.
So I
Michael
will.
Schumacher won 2 in a row, and then went on to losing. They didn't win championship for 4 years, or for 4 seasons. They went on a 5-win streak. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. But I will see you guys possibly either tomorrow or sometime this week for the live stream. If you want to see more content like this, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel's links are going to be down below. But I am NearFear, and I'll catch you guys on the flip. Peace.